Magic of Innovation by Dr. H. James Harrington, entrepreneur and author, narrated by Christopher G. Wales. The good old days was last Friday. It is now Monday, and the rules have changed. For over 100 years, we have been the envied spot in the world, and when you're number one, there's nowhere to go but down. You can't stop and rest because when you do, you start slipping backwards because everyone else is trying to outdo you. No one wants to be the one that used to be the benchmark. That's going to happen if we don't shift into overdrive. Watch out! The car you see in the rearview mirror coming up very fast is China. Practically, a higher level of innovation will result when you have more minds thinking about improvement opportunities. Today, China has more engineers available in the workforce and far more engineers in the university than we have in the United States. Countries with the most STEM graduates from university, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Number 1, China, 4.7 million. Number 2, India, 2.6 million. Number 3, United States, 568,000. Russia, 561,000. China's 14th five-year plan calls for a countrywide strategic plan focusing on innovation and competitiveness. You can believe the government is really committed to meeting those goals, or even a better word for it would be those objectives. In the 1980s and 90s, China was a copycat country. They relied heavily on other countries doing the design development work as they specialized in producing the product faster and less expensive. But things are changing rapidly in China. They now have the world's fastest computers and have now focused on shifting away from putting another country's trademark on the products that they produce. Today, their goal is to develop their own brand reputation. Trademarks like Good Baby are readily recognized around the world. Good Baby International Holdings Limited has sold more than 18 million Big Kid boosters. This company produces 90% of the children's car seats. China is very good at strategic planning, with few changes in the government structure. They just completed their 13th five-year plan that ran from 2015 through 2020, and their objective was to become an innovative country by 2020. They were successful at meeting that objective. Their 14th five-year plan that runs between 2020 and 2025 focuses on innovation and competitiveness. The plan of record is to be front-ranked in innovation worldwide by 2035. This is just a few months short of 12 years from now. Does your organization have a plan that will put your organization front-ranked over the next 12 years? I will admit, innovation can take you from the poorhouse to the White House or from the mansion in Hollywood Hills to a cool cardboard box in the alley behind the railroad station. I will also admit that there's a lot more bankruptcy every year than there are new billionaires. I will admit that on occasion, a young Stanford University student who comes up with an innovative idea can become a millionaire overnight. Then, on the other hand, there's still a number of homeless people wandering around Palo Alto, the closest city to Stanford University. I can understand why a young Stanford graduate has to be extremely innovative because he has a large education debt hanging over his head and he wants to make $1 million quickly. The homeless man, on the other hand, doesn't need to be as innovative. If the weather is warm and it isn't raining, the cardboard box might meet all his requirements. God's unique gift to mankind is our desire to improve our surroundings. I feel sorry for anyone who is not innovative and creative. They are missing one of the major joys in life. The joy of creating something is really interesting and personally satisfying. It lasts longer than the joys and highs you experience after having a sexual encounter. The magic words in sales used to be the person's name, cheaper, thank you. Today, the magic words are faster, newer, innovative, and better. If Mary, sitting at the desk next to you, has a gadget that is faster or newer or more innovative or better than you have, it doesn't seem to matter if the one that you have works or doesn't work. You just have to have a new one. Today, it seems like greed is a stronger driving force than love. Everyone's playing the innovative game. ANSI has issued a new standard, Guidelines for Evaluating the Quality and Innovation for Government Offices and Services Standard for U.S. government offices. Not to be outdone, the International Organization for Standardization, ISO, formed Technical Committee 279 to prepare standards for innovation. All the major production countries in the world have their technical experts representing them and approving on the final documents. One of the outputs from the ISO Technical Committee is ISO 56002, Innovation Management Systems Standard. This is a released guideline for establishing your innovation system. At the present, Working Group 1 is preparing an innovation management system that will be an enforceable management document instead of a guideline. This document is scheduled to come out in approximately 18 months. It's not too early to start preparing for it right now. Technical Committee 276 defined 8 innovation management principles and established 8 working groups that were assigned the responsibilities to write the innovation standard. Although there are only 8 working groups active in the Technical Committee, some of the working groups will be releasing more than one document and additional working groups can be assigned if needed. If you have extremely capable innovation system designers, I would strongly recommend you see how they could help this Technical Committee prepare the best possible documents and requirements. The ISO definition of innovation is designed to cover all types of outputs and services for all types of industry, governments, religions, education, and entertainments, including profit and nonprofit organizations. Key definitions are: innovation is defined as new or change the entity, realizing or distributing value. Entity is defined as anything perceived or perceivable. Value is defined as financial or non-financial resources or advantages. As a general overview, the definitions of innovation tend to be a combination of anything that is an improvement and/or different from what was done in the past. I personally disagree with the broad general definition of innovation that includes small, medium, and large changes or improvements, but I'm in the minority. I have a tendency to want to think of an innovative output as being something special that sets the entity apart from the average. For a continuous improvement activity to be considered innovative, it would have to be driving the total organization at an improvement rate that is greater than 3 sigma limits of the improvement rate of other organizations. That typically indicates that they need to be doing something different than what other organizations are doing. For example, that would be a sustained continuous improvement of greater than 15% for a minimum of 3 years. For the purpose of this discussion, I'm going to define innovation as people creating value through the implementation of new, creative, and unique ideas that generate combined, measurable added value to the organization's stakeholders. Innovation is how an organization adds value for the stakeholders by implementing creative ideas. An individual change can have a negative or positive impact or value to each of the individual stakeholders. Note, a typical example of this would be a modern music group that composes their own original music and delivers it to their audiences. Unfortunately, today there are few, if any, modern music groups whose compositions are original and creative. Can an idea be innovative if the concept is not implemented or if it's just creative or inventive? If you can patent the idea, does that indicate that it is an innovative idea? No. It must be a creative idea, but it has not met the criteria to be classified as an innovative idea? No. It's just a potentially innovative entity until it has added value. Individual creativity is directed at finding solutions to personal problems, improving financial and/or living standards, and providing a level of personal satisfaction. Organizations need to be innovative to provide increased value-added content to all their stakeholders. Stakeholders include management, investors, customers, suppliers, employees, the employees' families, and the community. I'm often asked the question, would you rather have creative employees or innovative employees? The answer to this question is obvious when you realize you cannot have innovation without creativity, but you can have creativity without innovation. The key is to keep the interest of your employees high enough so that a higher percentage of their creativity is directed at taking advantage of organizational opportunities. Usually, as you increase the number of creative ideas, you increase the number of ideas that provide added value to the organization. Increased creativity drives increased opportunities, because creativity drives innovation. It's like creativity is the shell and egg white, and innovation is the yolk. Now let's sneak in the back of a conference room where the imaginary organization Johnson Tool and Die Company's executive committee is holding their regular Friday business review. Shh! Please be quiet. We don't want to interrupt the executive board's discussions. We have entered a typical executive conference room with an elongated egg-shaped imitation mahogany table designed to accommodate 18 people. It is designed so 8 people can sit on each side of the table with 2 at each end of the table. Each attendee can plug in a computer and have connections to the internet. The computer screen is mounted on the wall at the far end of the table. The right-hand side of the room is a solid wall of windows. On the other side of the room, there is a gigantic erasable whiteboard that is used as a blackboard during working sessions. There are 8 small, uncomfortable, stackable guest chairs against the whiteboard that we are now sitting in. Sitting at the head of the table is Grace Wainwright, the Chief Executive Officer for Johnson Tool and Die Company. Your innovative improvement initiative could start in many ways. Let's say it started when someone at your executive committee meeting or at your board of directors meeting says, "Should we be more innovative or be ahead of the curve rather than following our competition? Do we need to improve our innovative management system?" Peter, the Vice President of Marketing and Sales, quickly responds, "What is an innovative management system? Our products are always following the market, not leading the market. We would love it if just once in a while I would have something to sell that no one else has and it is something that our customers wanted. If you did that, I could cut my sales costs by 30% and still meet quotas. We always have too much to sell, and our competition has usually been there first and have already picked the sweetest cherries." John, the Vice President of Research and Development, explained, "We have hundreds of great ideas that could make our company more innovative in our market segment. We just need more resources so that we can identify the best innovative opportunities. We cannot create on your time schedule. It takes a lot of testing to separate the big winners from the losers. We have more winning ideas than you have winning customers. I will compare my record against yours any day and win every time." Peter strikes back. "I'm surprised that my salesmen do as good as they do. We get products to sell that we know are not better, and often are not as good as our competitors are selling. It takes magicians to sell anything out there most of the time. Give us a product that is in demand and we will outperform you every day." John, trying to focus the conversation on someone else, took a sip of his coffee and pointed out, "We have to get more manufacturing priority support in running our design experiments and pilots initiative. We also need much better marketing support in identifying potential opportunities that are legitimate. We waste millions on reacting to marketing's input related to customers' present and future requirements, only to have them melt away like butter in a hot frying pan after we went to the expense of designing a new entity and building models. Too many of the inputs we get from marketing suggest that our customers want something different than what we are selling. So we design something that exactly meets marketing's input, and when we show it to the customer, they want something completely different. If marketing would give me good input data, my success rate would greatly improve. We need to stop playing games with future potential concepts and focus on developing products that we can sell today, while developing backup for today's products when they are no longer sellable 3 years from now." Hans, the VP of Product Engineering, chimed in, "You are so absolutely right, John. Your team needs to stop playing games with future potential concepts like artificial intelligence and leave them for the fellas with the deep pockets. Let's focus on developing products that can replace our present product lines. Far too many of our new products fail for one of 2 reasons. Either they are not manufacturable at the projected price, or our customers don't consider them as the best option. For every new successful innovative entity, we come out with, there are too many failures that lead to defining and segregating the winners. The company's future rests on our shoulders, and we need to invest a great deal more in developing creative, innovative entity. That is going to require that product engineering be given more resources and higher priority throughout the organization. We have to make better use of what we have rather than tear down and start over. Daniel Lynch, the Vice President of Manufacturing, joins in saying, "Why would you want to change anything we are doing? Our product lines are running smooth. Of course, we can always stand a little more automation. The organization is making a nice profit and our stock market value is at an all-time high. If anything, we should be cutting back on all those special projects that are costly, time-consuming, and have high failure rates. What we need to do is be more selective in the projects that we initiate and only do the ones that have a very high probability of being winners. That's the way to reduce my overhead and provide more resources for current products that we can sell next month at a lower price than our competition. Customers today are greedy. The more you give them, the more they want and at a lower price." The Chief Financial Officer, Yossi Bester, speaks up saying, "Why don't we just buy GG Technology Company? There's a lot of talk about their new innovative widget and it's just starting up its S-curve. There is going to be a lot of demand for widgets in the future, but GGT does not have the funding, sales, and marketing force that they need to take advantage of the opportunity. Their widget fits very nicely in with our mission and our entity lines. Why spend a lot of money on research and development that may or may not come up with an innovative new product? Let's bet on a sure thing." John interrupts saying, "My team in R&D knows all about GG Technology and their patent. We didn't do anything about it until last month when their sales began to climb and we were convinced that there was a demand for their product. I have a team using the TRIZ approach, developing a way to work around GGT's patent and come out with a product that is just a little bit better or cheaper, and hopefully a combination of both of them. We are estimating it will be 8 to 14 months before we have a product in manufacturing that we can sell. We should quickly capture GGT's share of the market and their plane will go down in flames." Peter smiled and responded saying, "It looks like the way to take care of those startup companies is to buy them or work around their patent after they spend all the costs of developing a product." Ruth Johnson, the manager of the Project Management Office, spoke up saying, "Do you know that the International Organization for Standardization, ISO, in Switzerland has developed a standard for an innovative management system? I just got a book entitled Using the ISO 56002 Innovative Management System Standard. It's published by Taylor and Francis, and the standard is recommended by the American National Standards Institute. Getting that book may be a good place to start." Daniel, the Vice President of Manufacturing, stood up shouting, "I hate those ISO standards. Remember all the problems we had getting certified for ISO 9000, the quality standard, ISO 14000, the environmental standard? They have standards for everything and all it means is more people coming around interfering with production. Just look at the millions of dollars we spent to maintain ISO and other certifications. It's just another way for the consultants to make more money by using our ideas. Hello. The auditors come around and ask us what problems we are having. They asked us how it could be corrected. We tell them. They write it down and tell management that it should be corrected or they will take away our certifications if it isn't corrected in writing right away. Guess what? You come back and you want me to justify why we had not corrected the problem before the auditors came around. Their only joy in life is making me miserable and telling me what I have to do. It's not enough that we have these quality people running around telling us how we should work. Now we've got another outside group that is pushing for their own priorities. However, if we didn't have so many people running around looking over our shoulders and telling us what we should be doing and trying to set our own priorities, we could be doing real productive work boosting our production by as much as 20%. Grace Wainwright, the Chief Operating Officer, cut Daniel short, saying, "Daniel, please calm down and sit down. Now, I'll agree that innovation is the magic word that opens the wallets of our investors and consumers. We have to legitimately use it in our marketing and sales campaigns, and that means we have to continuously deliver products and services that the consumer considers innovative. It seems like there is general agreement we should consider doing something related to innovation. I don't know if focusing on improving innovation is the best way for us to use our limited discretionary resources or not. How many of you are willing to give up this year's bonuses to apply that money to a project to improve innovation?" There was a long silence. It was so quiet you could hear Daniel Lynch breathing. Eventually, John, the Vice President of Research and Development, raised his hand saying, "You've got my vote. That's a good investment in our future." Peter, the Vice President of Marketing and Sales, put his hand in front of his mouth and mumbled, "Well, if John goes along with it, I will go along with it also." The room was quiet for a long moment, and then the Chief Financial Officer, Yossi Bester, spoke up saying, "Don't leave out buying GG Technology Company." After a few more quiet seconds, Grace Wainwright brought things to a head by saying, "The rest of you have nothing to say, so I assume you are neutral and the yes have it. But to keep the cost down, there will be no change in our bonus plan." Around the room, there was a deep sigh of relief, and the deadly serious faces turned into smiles. At the same time, a soft level of mumbling between executive committee members was noted. Grace, looking directly at John and pointing to him, says, "It looks like you're the executive champion for this innovation initiative. I have seen flow charts on everything we do, but I don't remember ever seeing one on our innovation process. I want you to organize a group that will define what the present process is and what its strengths and weaknesses are. We have a number of other proposals directed at improving our creativity and innovation your team should consider. It looks like we are not in agreement on what we should do related to innovation. Should we do much more? Should we do much less? Or should we do nothing? What I want is a very quick, mini study that will recommend to us if we should increase or decrease our innovative activities in each of your organizations. If you're coming back to me to tell me we should increase our activities, I want a 10 times return on investment in the next 3 years, maintain or grow our market share, and improve our customer satisfaction index by a minimum of 5 percentage points. I remind you that the board is very happy with the way we are performing, and I was very happy with my bonus last year. If we are going to invest in anything, you better make me happier than I am today. I want your recommended action presented to this group at next month's meeting. Give me your best shot you can give me on this mini-study. I'm not looking for a plan to do something. I'm looking for a recommendation from your team about which of the following 3 courses we should take. 1. We should develop a plan to improve our innovation. 2. We should do nothing special about innovation now. Just continue doing what we are doing. 3. We should cut back on the innovation we are doing at the present time. I will hold you responsible for the success or failure of this initiative. Be sure that there is representation from every function involved in the Innovation Management Initiative as active members on the committee. Our board of directors is very satisfied with where we are. If we are going to make any significant changes, it needs to quickly reflect an increase in our market share and higher stock value. Otherwise, why risk the resources? Schedule a meeting with me for your team sometime within the next 4 days. Remember our 3-year operating theme, 2020 to 2024? More with less, better, and newer. Looking at the other end of the table, Grace asks, "Ruth, please get me a copy of that book. In fact, get all of the executive team a copy. I want all of us to be better informed about what and how ISO is recommending that innovative organizations should be managed." Looking back at Daniel, Vice President of Manufacturing, Grace said, "Getting back to the real world, the subject is, why did we miss shipping schedules last week and how are we going to make it up this week?" While the weekly project status meeting was going on, Ruth used her cell phone to order 25 copies of Using the ISO 56002 Innovation Management System from Amazon to be delivered the next morning. John, using his cell phone, scheduled a meeting with Dr. Lee at 1 p.m. on Tuesday to discuss him being assigned as chairman of the Innovation Analysis Team, IAT. Johnson Tool & Die Company is doing exactly the right thing. They are not going to waste money chasing a popular fad. They are going to do a mini-analysis to identify how value will be added to their stakeholders if they incorporate any of the popular innovative concepts and methodologies. She recognized that there were advantages in sampling the bathwater before you add the hot water to it. Johnson Tool & Die Company is doing a mini version of the Innovative Management Excellence Transformation Cycle, IMET, Phase 1 assessment that can be completed very quickly and inexpensively. This approach is frequently called a mini-assessment. When Dr. Lee received his copy of the book on ISO 56002, He discovered that one of the authors was H. James Harrington, the CEO of Harrington Management Systems. He had taken a Six Sigma Black Belt course from this company, and he smiled remembering that they were located right here in the Bay Area and how satisfied he was with the class. A few minutes on the internet and he had the phone number for the consulting firm, 408-358-2476. Dr. Lee dialed the number and it rang 4 times before someone picked it up and was surprised when Jim Harrington personally answered the phone. They talked for over 2 hours, and Jim gave Dr. Lee a website address where he could get answers to a few of his questions and receive a free, innovative maturity grid analysis computer-generated report in a matter of minutes based upon the data Dr. Lee submitted. Dr. Lee terminated the phone conversation by stating, "I wanted to get this project completed within 4 to 6 weeks, and I would like a proposal from someone from HMS starting next week to help on the project. Seeing that your organizations taught Six Sigma classes here, I am assuming you are on our approved supplier list, so we do not have to go out for quotes." Jim rubbed his chin a couple of times between his fingers and thumbs like he was thinking and replied, "Yes, I'm quite sure we are on your approved supplier list." Dr. Lee smiled the smile of self-satisfaction knowledge and replied, "Keep your estimates down to a minimum. I do not have extra funds in this project for a consultant, so I'm going to bring you in under my personal budget expenses." Following the phone call with Dr. Harrington, Dr. Lee recorded in his engineering notebook the following: Form the Innovation Analysis Team, IAT, to meet its assigned objectives. They need to form the Innovation Analyst Team, IAT, with open-minded people. Order 12 copies of the ISO 56002 and 56004. Understand today's Innovative Management System, IMS. Compare today's IMS to the ISO 56002 and 56004. Define the weaknesses and strengths in today's IMS. Identify desirable changes to today's IMS. Predict how changes to the present IMS will impact, either positively or negatively, the organization's short-range and long-range bottom-line results. The very next day, Dr. Lee contacted Jim Harrington and explained that he would like to have their first meeting of their innovation study team at 8 a.m. on Thursday, with the hope that Harrington Management Systems could have someone available to discuss what ISO is doing to highlight the importance of innovation. Jim agreed that he would be at the reception at 7 a.m. on Thursday and would be available for at least the next 4 hours. Grace Wainwright stated at this Get Acquainted meeting of the Innovation Analysis Team study that this project was extremely important to the future of the Johnson Tool and Die Company, and she wanted it to be given a high priority. She asked John to keep her informed about the progress the team was making. She ended her discussion by saying, "If you don't mind, I will stay with you this morning because I want to hear the presentation on the ISO standard for managing innovative organizations." As she sat down, Dr. Lee got up saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, we have a guest here with us today. Dr. H. James Harrington has agreed to explain his interpretation of how the International Standards Organization, ISO 56002, can be used to identify improvement opportunities within our new product development cycle. With that, Jim, the stage is yours." Jim started his presentation by saying, "If you're doing things the same way you were doing things in 2021, you are obsolete. While you are explaining to your boss why you cannot do something, someone else has gotten it done. We are frequently asked, how should I change my innovation management system to improve organizational performance? We honestly answer saying, we don't know. Do you want to increase or decrease your innovative effort? Should you increase or decrease your innovative effort? Based upon the data I have now, I have no way of answering these questions. The potential client typically replies, well, naturally, I want to improve my organization's performance. We ask, you want to improve your organization's performance as viewed by who? Potential client? What do you mean by who? By everyone, that's who. We explained, improvement as viewed from the stock market is very different than improvement as viewed from your employee. The consumers will think you're improving when you reduce costs on your product, while the investor may consider that negative improvement as it reduces the dividends paid to them. Your investors look at transferring manufacturing to Asia as improved performance because it should increase profit and improves return on investment. But the employees that are put out of work will consider that as a negative impact on them as they line up to get their unemployment insurance. No one's ever been able to disprove Isaac Newton's third rule. It states, "To every action, there is always opposed an equal reaction," or "The mutual actions of two bodies upon each other are always equal and directed to contrary parts." How much money do you lose because the customer is unhappy and does not come back to buy again? Or worse yet, tells 22 other people not to buy from you because of the poor services you provided. Your competitor's best and most effective advertising outlet is your dissatisfied customers. There are 5 types of innovation. At first glance at innovation, we have a tendency to limit our thinking to product innovation. But that's just a superficial view of the innovation system. It is a lot like a walnut. It is the outside shell that we use to interpret what the real meat is going to be like inside that shell. And on occasion, sometimes we are surprised. The product is primarily a reflection of the inner working relationships of the many innovative processes and activities that go on within an organization. Without the supporting innovative approaches and rules, the outside shell, your product or output, would never become a reality. We will divide the innovative management system into 5 types of innovation systems. They are 1. Product innovation. 2. Process innovation. 3. Sales and marketing innovation. 4. Management innovation. 5. Service innovation. Product innovation, which primarily leads to producing a competitive advantage through differentiation. Process innovation, which primarily leads to producing a competitive advantage through lower prices or reduced cycle time or improved reliability or a combination of all 3. Sale and marketing innovation, which primarily leads to producing a competitive advantage or a marketing mix, target market, distribution, product, price, and promotion. Management information, which primarily leads to producing a competitive advantage through better organizational ways of achieving the organization's goal and better use of the organization's resources. Service innovation, which applies to servicing the customer after they have purchased the item and services to internal organizations. This basically drives improved responsiveness, understanding of the consumer's environment, and improved relationships. Each of these types of innovation are often broken down into subcategories. One approach breaks them down into 3 subcategories, and another approach breaks them down into 5 categories. Both approaches work equally as well, but we like to use the 5-category approach because it has extensive research and data behind it justifying its conclusions. A methodical process for knowledge-based innovation, frequently called TRIZ, was originally developed by Henry Altshuler, 1926 to 1998 in the USSR. In his preparation work for developing the TRIZ methodology, he studied tens of thousands of patents and classified them based upon its complexity into 5 different levels. They are: Level 1, Apparent Solutions. Is Apparent Solutions more continuous improvement, or is it new and unique so it can be classified as innovative? I personally would estimate that 3 sigma of the population would be classified as continuous improvement. The majority of the patent, 68.3%, were classified as apparent solutions. Level 2, minor improvements. What percentage of the minor improvements is continuous improvement, and what percentage is innovative? Based upon looking at a small sample of data, I would estimate that 80 to 85% of the minor improvements are continuous improvements, and only 15% could be classified as innovative. Minor improvements accounted for 27.1% of the patents. Level 3, major improvements. What percentage of the major improvements is continuous improvement, and what percentage is innovative? My estimate is as little as 20 to 30% are continuous improvement, and as much as 70 to 80% are innovative. Just 4.3% of the patents were classified as major improvements. Level 4. New paradigm. What percentage of new paradigms are continuous improvement and what percentage is innovative? Here, the biggest percentage of innovative concepts and ideas are a whopping 95%, and only 5% continuous improvement. Only 4.3% of the patents were classified as being based upon new paradigms. Level 5. Discoveries. What percentage of the discoveries are continuous improvements, and what percentage is innovation? Again, this ratio is 98% for innovative and 2% for continuous improvement. With only 0.06%, 0.06% of the patents classified as discovery, it is an extremely rare case where innovation falls into the Level 5 discovery category. These are the true breakthrough concepts that result in new types of products being developed. You have to be extremely rich or extremely poor with nothing to lose for this kind of innovation. Often it is grant, government, or university funded. I found this knowledge on the shocking side, but it was very interesting and should have a major impact on how we design our innovative management system to maximize value added to the organization and its stakeholders. You may not agree with the exact ratio, but it should give you an idea of the total value-added magnitude between each of the 5 categories. More important is to point out that approximately 93% of all improvements that are new and creative fall into the categories of apparent solutions and minor improvements. This might indicate that you would not want to design your innovative management system to focus on high-risk projects that make up Level 3, 4, and 5. It's important to point out that these are the types of changes that give an organization a very significant competitive position and reputation. Often, a Level 4 change will be the trigger that promotes many of the Level 1 and 2 changes. The iPhone is a good example of different levels of innovation. The initial iPhone was the original and truly innovative product. The 5 or the 6 follow-on cell phones fall into the evolutionary or minor improvement category. The iPhone 3GS could be classified as a Level 3 major improvement. This is a good example of how a significant innovative output can generate a continuous stream of product sales to the same and to an extended population by making slight modifications and adding additional features to the original output, which greatly extends the life of the innovative concept, often for generations. Keeping in mind the assignment that the Johnson Tool & Die Company Innovation Analysis Team had been given, I would suggest that the IAT should take the following action to complete their assignment. 1. Conduct a current state evaluation, or identification, or maturity grid self-evaluation. 2. Compare present IMS to ISO 56002. 3. Initial list of strengths, weaknesses, risks, and priorities needed to be considered in making changes to the IMS. 4. Prepare Innovation Transformation Analysis Report and present it to the Executive Committee. Sometimes, the final report presents its findings on what impact the action would have on the organization if the IMS is not changed, the IMS resources are increased by X%, the IMS resources are decreased by X%. Organizations that have already made up their mind that they will invest in improving their present IMS may use an approach called Innovation Management Excellent Transformation System, IMET. It consists of 8 phases with a number of toll gates to the system to minimize expending resources on projects and programs that won't have a significant added value content. They are Phase 1, Conducting Assessment, Current State Evaluation / Maturity Grid Self-Evaluation. Phase 2, Comparing Present IMS to ISO 56002 and 56004. Phase 3, Developing Vision Statements. Phase 4, Defining Desired Behaviors and Setting Performance Goals. Phase 5, Developing 3-Year Plan. Phase 6, Combining 3-Year Plan. Phase 7, Developing 90-Day Rolling Action Plan. Phase 8, Implementing and Measuring. you will note that Johnson Tool and Die Company decided to do a mini assessment before they started the formal Phase 1 assessment. To start with, and based upon their findings, this will determine if it is worthwhile to complete the formal Phase 1 and Phase 2, comparing their innovation systems to ISO standards. And only then at that point in time will they commit significant resources to bring about desired transformation. There is a firm toll gate at the end of Phase 2 where a business case is presented that considers both the short and long-term advantages, disadvantages, risks, and impacts. It is important to consider all of these in making this decision. If the proposed changes are the best way to use the organization's very limited discretionary spending money. Phase 1. Conducting assessment, current state evaluation / maturity grid self-evaluation. At the very beginning of Phase 1, the Innovation Action Team, IAT, is formed, trained, and develops the team's operating guidelines. These guidelines include an approved mission statement, agreed-to definition of keywords, understanding what created the improvement opportunity, and the key related measurements of progress. You cannot answer the question, "How are we doing?" without first answering the question, "What are we doing?" We need to explore a variety of assessment tools and methods that will help answer both of these questions. You can use off-the-shelf surveys, collect operating procedures, review performance reports, create specialized surveys from scratch, conduct in-person assessments, or take advantage of online tools to survey people. One possible good starting point is to prepare a process flow diagram of the entire system. Many organizations take this simple, less risky approach of hiring a consultant experienced in implementing ISO 56002 to help them to do this evaluation. Keep in mind, this is a preliminary assessment. If the decision is to make a significant improvement in your innovation management culture, a very comprehensive evaluation should be made of the as-is status so that all the risks and opportunities are considered in the innovation portfolio. In this part of the program, the important thing is quick response, rather than accuracy of the findings. It is a time to strike fast and get her to the altar quickly while she's ready to say yes. Rather than give her time to think about all the dirty diapers that will need to be changed if she said yes. Innovation is not free. It is priceless. Be sure to design your assessment system so that you overcome executive team bias. The assessment should be a complete view of the organization's innovation activity from top management level, middle management level, line management level, employee level, customer level, and suppliers. It is a rare organization where a single survey and/or an assessment is adequate to characterize the culture of an organization and identify opportunities for major improvements. Some of the surveys that we found useful are Innovation Maturity Grid Survey, Is/Should Be Analysis, the 10S Survey, Innovation Business Survey, Historical Trend Analysis, Customer Focus Group, Performance Innovation Analysis, General Employee Opinion Survey. We are now going to leave the Johnson Tool and Die Company innovation improvement activities alone so that they can move forward in evaluating and implementing a customized IMS. We will now focus on a more general approach to maximizing the effectiveness of your IMS. Phase 2. Compare present IMS to ISO 56002 and 56004. In order to be involved in comparing the ISO 56002 and 56004 standards to your present system, it is extremely important that the IAT has been trained to understand the meaning and the intent of these documents and the documents they refer to. We recommend that most of your IAT members are Gold Innovation Validation Medal level at a very minimum, and one of the individuals needs to be trained at the Gold Medal level. Both 56002 and 56004 are guidance standards, So it is extremely important that the individual using these documents understands the theory behind the document as well as the intent. A compliance standard provides you with specific instructions on what you must do and what you could consider doing. A guidance document leaves those decisions up to you to adjust the intent to conform with your organization's specific culture, environment, and its objectives. At the very end of Phase 2 is a toll gate for a final report to be presented to the executive team that includes recommendations and related justification. It will also indicate the risks related to implementing the recommendations and the risks related to not implementing the recommendations. Phase 3. Develop 5-year Innovation Vision Statement. Activities that are part of Process Grouping 3 are: develop a list of innovative performance and cultural characteristics that are desirable traits for each of the 10 S improvement drivers. Using these characteristics as a starting point, develop a 5-year future vision statement related to each performance driver. The vision statement should be no more than 3 short sentences for each of the 10 performance drivers. In addition, a 3-year theme is built for the innovative initiative. A theme should be no longer than 1 sentence so that everyone in the organization can easily remember it and apply it to their own activities. A typical theme might be, if everything is running good, it is time to improve it. In Phase 3, the team develops a 5-year Innovation Cultural Vision Statement for each of the 10 S's organizational performance drivers, considering all strategic factors and their impact on all of the stakeholders. The 10 S's are the 10 entities that drive organizational performance. A vision statement should be in present tense. Example: we are effectively using participative management methods in all areas. Not, we should be effectively using participative methods in all areas. They should show a state of change that takes advantage of today's opportunity defined by the team and in the assessment. Preliminary vision statement for processes. Our innovative processes provide a competitive advantage which employees and customers recognize as world-class. Key measurement stretch improvement goals reassigned every year. Phase 4. Defining desired behaviors and setting innovation performance goal for every vision statement. A list should be prepared of evidence and behaviors that would exist in the organization if the vision were realized. Sustainable results is the result of changes in behavioral patterns. A way to define how your organization should be behaving is to focus on key words or phrases in the vision statement of the organization's principles. For example, empowered employees would: self-managed work items are used effectively, wild ideas are encouraged and discussed, unsolicited recommendations and suggestions are often turned in, business information is readily available to all employees, employees are telling their managers how they satisfied their customers rather than involving their manager in satisfying the employee. Self-managed work teams organize themselves. The executive team now defines how it will measure success for the innovation improvement effort. Every one of the executives has expectations of what should be accomplished in their function and the organization as a whole. Every function should be expected to come up with at least a set of measurements, goals, and objectives that will demonstrate their commitment to being creative, innovative, and resourceful. The executive team needs to focus on setting goals for only a few critical organizational measurements, key performance indicators, KPIs. For example, return on investment, customer satisfaction, percent of revenue generated by new products, innovative product success rate, response time, value added per employee, market share. The executive team with the board of directors' approval should set yearly goals for them that will impact their compensation and will be used to design the innovative improvement system around. These goals should be much more aggressive than what you have been able to accomplish in the past. The ultimate design of the innovative system will be greatly impacted based upon how aggressive these improvement performance goals are. This is a sample of a typical set of performance improvement goals. You note that it is a 5-year goal. Now, you may think that you can't estimate out 5 years, but China does it for the whole country, and you think you can't do it for something you know as much about your own organization? Go ahead and make it a very aggressive estimate. You may think setting goals 5 years in advance is too long because things change so fast. Goals are not cast in concrete and can be changed based upon changes in your organization's objectives, products, competitors, technology, and customers. How about growing total sales by 10 times in 5 years? Okay. If you want to be conservative, how about setting 3 one-year goals of 5 times improvement in 3 years? This same approach should be used all the way down through the natural working team levels using methodologies like area activity analysis. Area activity analysis, AAA, is the first performance improvement tool that a manager should use to help his or her area get started on a sound footing. AAA helps the organization accomplish the most basic of all management, as defining the purpose of the area. What activities must be done to satisfy the area's mission? The area's internal and external customer requirements? How the area's performance should be measured? What is acceptable performance? AAA is not another technique for improving processes, reducing cycle time, or reducing costs. Simply stated, it helps management clarify what is expected of their group, defines key measurements, performance standards, and focuses employees like a laser beam on the organization's mission. It defines whether the area needs to improve and where the improvement opportunities exist. Phase 5. Developing individual 3-year plan. The IAT team now defines how it will measure success for the innovation improvement effort. Every one of the executives has expectations of what should be accomplished in their function and the organization as a whole. Every function should be expected to come up with a set of measurements, goals, and objectives that will demonstrate their commitment to being creative, innovative, and resourceful. The same approach should filter all the way down to the natural working levels. Effective use of area activity analysis is a practical way to accomplish this. Separate, customized improvement strategies are prepared for each of the key business drivers defined in Phase 1. To accomplish this, you need someone familiar with the 76 innovative tools and methodologies that every innovator should know at a minimum. The ideal person is an individual who has been given an Innovation Gold Medal validation. Using this approach, the following steps are taken. Step 1. A list of typical improvements or creation opportunities are prepared for each of the business drivers. Step 2. For each classification of improvement opportunities, define which tools and methodologies can be effectively used. Step 3. By scanning the matrix, you can identify the tools that should be made available to the individuals within your organization. Step 4. Lay out a training schedule and do not introduce the student to more than 8 tools at a time. Step 5. Define timing, methods, and approaches that will be used to phase each of these tools and methodologies into the organization. Phase 6. Combining 3-year plan. Organizations that want to eliminate the piecemeal, flavor-of-the-month approach to performance improvement are stepping back and looking at all their improvement options before committing to a course of action. It takes time up front, but it reuses total cycle time, cost, and is effective over a 5-year period. In addition, it produces much better results. Properly designed, it will create an organization that is creatively bringing out the best that each employee has to offer. Work becomes rewarding, enjoyable, and exciting experience. The environment promotes a team spirit throughout the organization without taking away the individual's sense of accomplishment, achievement, and self-esteem. The excitement of being and achieving creates an electrifying air that snaps like a lightning bolt between management and the employees alike, breathing new life into the entire organization. Phase 7. Innovation implementing a rolling 90-day action plan. A rolling 90-day action plan can be used to take advantage of the opportunity. Now that the organization has agreed on a 3-year IMET plan, it is time to put the theory into action. A rolling 90-day action plan is used to provide the organization with an agreement to a short-range schedule for implementing the combined 3-year IMET plan. This schedule will be divided into weekly segments with very specific target dates included in the plan. Example, the IAT will meet on the first and third Tuesday of every month from 9 a.m. to 12 noon, or the final report is due February 3rd. Each month, an additional 30 days is added to the plan, keeping the active part of the plan covering the period of the next 90 days. Keeping this plan up to date is a major part of the role that the individual who is managing the Innovation Transformation Project program. Phase 8. Implementing and measuring. During Phase 8, the Innovation Transformation team is installing the individual parts of the new innovative management system. This installation is spread over a 4-year period, minimizing future shock impact on the employees and allowing management to measure what activities have the biggest impact on organizational performance. It also allows the process to be continuously influenced by changing environmental conditions. There is nothing sacred about a 3-year plan. It should be very fluid and quickly adjusts to absorb any new obstacle that is put on its way. This longer measurement period is important as it provides assurances that improvement was not just superficial. All too often, major improvement is recorded when lots of engineering and management attention is being directed at a specific opportunity. Once this additional visibility is removed, the old practices have a tendency to gradually slip back into place. Let me leave you with a closing thought. As we prepare for the future, we need to be able to compete fairly with all organizations in all countries. To compete today, you have to do more things better than your competition can do, or you'll be out of business. Your competition is those 5,000 workers in an assembly plant in China, and that father, mother, and 10 and 11-year-old daughters working in the kitchen in India. The master machinist working in the Volkswagen plant in Germany, or those 2 15-year-old good friends working out of Johnny's garage writing code in Palo Alto. Our preoccupation with Germany, China, and Japan needs to give way to an international concern. Japan's predominance as a competitor has been replaced by China. China's productivity growth rate is twice that of Japan and the United States. Their real GDP growth rate has been about 8%. They have more than doubled their total export value, and their growing trade surpluses with the United States is a major concern. It's absolutely imperative that we stop this drain of our country's wealth, or we will wake up one day realizing that China could bankrupt the United States if they insisted on us paying our debts. Jim Harrington in 1987 wrote, "If you think Japan is a fierce competitor, it's a pussycat compared to China." A rebirth of innovative product developments and production is the only hope for us to maintain our world leadership position. Peter Drucker, management consultant for the 21st century, stated, "Everybody has accepted by now that change is unavoidable. But that still implies that change is like death and taxes. It should be postponed as long as possible, and no change would be vastly preferable. But in a period of upheaval, such as the one we are living in, change is the norm." The one rule to be successful is to convince your customers that you do more things better than your competition. Using your creativity and innovation is the second best way to become a millionaire. The best way to become a millionaire is to inherit it. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me. I hope you found it interesting and useful. The team here at Harrington Management Systems is looking forward to talking with each of you in person. We have years of experience behind us that we would love to share with you.
Thank you, Chris. You are absolutely right. There has never been a time in history where people are more starving for new and creative products and services. Individuals and companies who are creative and innovative can become millionaires in a matter of months if they really believe in themselves and their ideas. Here I am with 3 belated Christmas presents for you. I hope that each of them will turn out to be of value added for your company and your career. I feel a lot like when my son was young and I used to dress up in a red suit and a big white beard with a pillowcase full of presents tossed over my shoulder. Your first present is wrapped in red with a little spray of green and red mistletoe on top. As we open the box, we find it contains an innovation maturity grid analysis. It will take about 15 minutes to fill out the form and input it into the web. The computer will analyze your information and provide you with an overview of how your present innovative management system is performing in the 5 major business units. Within 24 hours, you will receive a personalized report reflecting analysis of the data you provided. This is typically the type of report that an organization would use to determine if there is need for changing their present innovative management system. Our normal price for conducting a similar report for an estimated organization would run between $20,000 and $30,000. For you, if you act within the next week, you will get your report back at no cost to you. Just one of the free bonuses for attending the webinar. To get started with the survey, you will have to write this down. Go to www.harringtonmanagementsystems.com. This will bring you to the website, and on that website you will be able to take the survey. So please do that as soon as you can so that we can give you your present and you can get started on the road to innovative success. The website looks like this. This is the Harrington Management Systems website. When you get on, go down to the second page, and in the middle of the second page, you will find the link for the Innovation Survey. Here it is right here. Simply click on this link, and the survey will come up. When you read the instructions here, as you page down, you will find all of the instructions for taking the survey, including how to enter your evaluation of each question. It's that simple. Your second present is all wrapped up in green with a bright red ribbon tied around it. As we open the box, I hope you will be glad to find that Harrington Management Systems will provide, at no cost, an online innovative executive briefing for your organization. In this briefing, you will discuss why innovation is so important to the future of an organization, what the status of international innovation standards are, and what are the best practices related to innovation. Part of the meeting will be devoted to reviewing and discussing the performance of the organization's innovative process. This will require a minimum of 10 additional people filling out the Innovative Maturity Grid analysis form and turning it into Harrington Management Systems, where the data will be combined and a customized report will be generated. An example of such a report for one of the areas, in this case management, process, product, sales, and services, will look like this. And it reflects the differences that the individuals putting the information in on each of these areas have relative to their understanding of where the company stands. The second graph is a breakdown of the activity classified as management that shows strengths and weaknesses. We have shared vision, strategy, structure, systems, style, staffing, and skill. Again, the difference between the lowest and the highest recorded values show us the differences in understanding in each of these areas. Here, the mean target is 7.2, and we can see that in this example, this organization has a lot of work to do to bring its organization into alignment. An executive briefing of this nature would normally cost between $6,000 and $10,000. For the next 4 weeks, we'll be doing it for free in order to promote our new book on innovation and the formal release of ISO 56002 Innovative Management System. Gift number 3 is wrapped up in a blue box with a silver ribbon wrapped around it. As we remove the ribbon and look inside the box, we find it full of our books entitled The Magic of Innovation. There is one book for each individual who attends the executive briefing. We recommend that you go out and buy one of our new books entitled Managing Innovative Projects and Programs. It is a book on how to manage innovative projects and programs to increase the probability of success while greatly reducing cycle time. After reading the book, please give your rating on Amazon. If you look at the value of the maturity grid analysis, the executive briefing, and books for the executive staff, that comes to a combined value of over $30,000. Now, that may seem too good to be true. Why in the world would we do it? Well, our experience indicates that once an organization understands the massive impact improving creativity and innovation will have on their organization, it will open the door for us to help install an advanced innovative system that is uniquely tailored to their culture, their management styles, and future growth of their organization, with us helping them put in a very successful innovative system. We are hoping that they will give referrals that will grow our business even faster than advertising or television or in magazines. The easiest, most satisfying, and rewarding type of advertising is word of mouth advertising. Of course, this opportunity is limited time offer. It is our objective to get 8 new clients that we will work with to install a customized, innovative management system within their organization. You are lucky enough to be here today when we are offering this exceptional opportunity. This opportunity is even better than a money-back guarantee. If you are dissatisfied, win, lose, or draw, you never put in any of your own money. The risk is all ours. That's how sure we are that you are going to be delighted with the results. We want to thank our moderator, Christopher Wells. He is a professional voiceover artist with his own recording studio, where he loves turning big ideas into sound results. We also want to thank our sponsors, the International Association of Innovation Professionals, Edge Software Incorporated, Business Systems Architects, LLC, Global Consulting and Strategic Alliances, and Service Quality Institute. Thank you for your attention. We understand that your time is valuable, and we hope that you feel that the time you spent with us has been worthwhile. If you have any questions for us, please submit them along with your email address and phone number. We will get back with you personally with an answer. Again, to start your free innovation survey, type www.harringtonmanagementsystems.com into your internet browser and get started on a fantastic journey. Until we hear from you, thank you very much. And here is our contact information.